Well, we just have loved Donald Trump since the beginning, and we're in our 99th day, right, of totally celebrating a leader, a businessman, someone who gets things done and is courageous and fights back.
Well, it's so nice to be with Trump people. Living in the Bay Area, it's not always that way, so it's great to be with people who are like-minded and understand, how America should work and how it's worked in the past and how it's not working anymore, but with Trump it will.
Well, like a lot of people, I like Trump, but was always worried about his tweets and what he's going to say next. But I think all in all, he's doing real well. The media is showing their colors by being extremely unfair, always trying to badger him and undermine him and make him look stupid. And instead, to me, it boomerangs and makes the media look corrupt and left-wing. And so I'm very pleased with what he's doing. I like what he's doing with Red China to help enlist their help against North Korea's wackadoodle. And I like what he's doing to get jobs in the United States and our economy going and the stock market's going bonkers. So there's a lot to like, and of course the Supreme Court justice too.
Well, what brought me here tonight is I actually helped provide a place for us to have this event to celebrate our wonderful president, to gather with Bay Area residents to come together and to strategize on how we can keep the flame going, keep the fire going. There's a lot of excitement in the Republican Party and excitement for Trump supporters, and we want to gather together, and we feel like together we're seeing a renewal in our nation, kind of a rescue, I feel. Tables are turning, and we want to keep that going.
The turnout here has been incredible. What are you learning about the support, such as tonight? You gathered all these people here tonight. There's about 100.
Yeah, well, what I learned is that these people have not lost their support for Donald Trump. They all think he's doing a fantastic job. They're here to celebrate the first 100 days because they are so excited about all the winning that we're doing. Donald Trump said we're going to get sick of winning. I don't know anybody in this room that is sick of winning. He's done so many great things, and he's just got started. So we are excited about our future and thankful that we're going to have a future now because.
So do you guys think there are paid organizers?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
what gives you that impression? I mean, the thing I see is printed signs and hoods over their heads. What are your thoughts?
Well, George Soros is paying everyone to, be anarchists, etc., and all the community organizations. It's been going on throughout the whole entire Obama administration, I feel. And this hatred of Trump is, we have to just be amused, I guess, because otherwise we would be really frustrated.
Well, we're in California.
Right. But I think that there's way more conservative thinking people in Contra Costa County, for instance, than we, there really are, and we know many. And in fact, 2 precincts in our area went for Trump, we were so excited to find that out. But so I think it's kind of just people are afraid to say it because of where we're at. And
what about around the dinner table? Do you guys avoid conversations with friends? What do you do?
There's some people we just can hardly stand to feed anymore. They've just got their heads somewhere, I don't know. But luckily, most of our family's in agreement, so that's really a blessing. And so we have rousing conversations, but there are some people that you just can't talk to them. But they pick fights. See, that's the difference. I feel like conservatives are professional, and we can have a discussion and not get personal, but they seem to like to get ugly and insult you, and treat you like you're stupid. And
I drove through Berkeley yesterday. Ann Coulter was pushed out. And I drove through the last time she tried to come to Berkeley. It's just odd. There's somebody who got hit on the head with a bike lock.
Yes, by a DVC teacher. That he's a Diablo Valley.
And I heard he got charged.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah, it's ugly. I don't understand, especially if they really. I think in their defense, some of, not those people, but just your main, people that go to work and everything, I mean, they're watching CNN. So they're not even hearing the truth.
I know.
Yeah.
So in their defense, once I think things start happening, like the tax, rates changing and all these good things, they can't help but feel better. I think eventually some people will come around. It's coming.
Standing up for what you believe. You had mentioned, what do I think about the undermining that's going on?
Yeah.
I'm appalled by it. This is not the America. It's not even the California that I grew up with. It was much more conservative, and I think they were better people back then. I think there's a lot of lies going around with fake news and everything else. And I think, just like the example before the elections, our neighbor, I had too many conversations with him, but I let him know that we're voting for Trump, and we kind of had this distance because he was not believing that we were going to vote for Trump. And I said, yeah. And then I told him about, the other side and the other people that like Hillary Clinton and stuff. So after the elections, he comes up to me and he thanked me for telling him and making a stand for what I believed in, because he could not believe that I was going to vote for Trump, right? Especially a woman, right? And he came up to me and he said, thank you so much. I did not vote for Hillary.
Awesome.
And he goes, you changed my mind. But taking the time just to simply be an American and talk to your neighbor, because there's so much propaganda and lies going on around there. So just at a simple level of continue to talk to people, and whether to the grocery store or at the gym, and there's just a lot of ignorance going around.
Yeah.
Patty O'Day had asked me to go to a sanctuary city subject meeting in Dublin. And we already knew the mayor was against it, but it was an informational meeting. Well, it was the first time so me, my family, my kids, teenagers, and a 20-year-old daughter, they were all on board. And they came, and the place was packed. There were so many people, they only gave us a short amount of time to speak.
So what finally happened?
So what happened is the people that were there and that were just trying to give information to everyone about it, but there's a lot of tension in the room. There was even probably some people from other places like Berkeley and stuff trying to stir something up. But we simply, once again, those are my words because I'm a civil person, we just sat there, we were opposing it, we spoke up against it, we let the mayor know, and even when one of the gals who was bringing the presentation in support of the sanctuary cities, she was introducing me to herself and then one of her colleagues, and he goes, oh, hi, I'm the devil. And I go, that's okay, I'm not worried about you. But
so you were quietly effective that night.
I was, and then I did get up and speak, and my daughter spoke too.
Really? And how was that? Was that your first time speaking at a city council meeting, or?
It was a great experience. We knew that the mayor was not for it, but the information had to be brought out. And what I felt like we changed it because we were the majority. We were strong. We were resolute. There were some people there that appeared to be just there to oppose us, and I think they looked intimidated because we stood strong together, and we ended up being the majority, and the things that we shared in front of our mayor were strong, and we were heard. And I think because it was the first time we'd ever been, it caused us to want to come again and to realize that we can make a difference in our cities.
I would say many of the calls that I made, they were very, very supportive. And, I could just tell you stories and stories of how supportive they were. So I recall one fellow, it happened to be in Blackhawk of all places, asked me did I think Trump would win? And I said, yeah, I guess I always assumed he was going to win because we called Florida, we called North Carolina, and it was, a strong majority that was pro-Trump. So I guess I was kind of surprised that they didn't call the election earlier.
What do you think of Ann Coulter being pushed out of speaking at Cal?
Well, so much for free speech for Berkeley, and Mario Salvio back in those days, what he was doing was swearing a lot of swear words at the mic, and typical liberal incoherence. And what Ann Coulter does, she's not a right-winger, she's not a Nazi or any of these horrible things they try to paint all of us as. She's a patriot, and she's very thoughtful. She writes books. She's on talk shows all over the place. She can back up what she says with facts and history. And it's the kind of person that everybody in Berkeley ought to be listening to because all they're getting from their own side is a bunch of BS.
So what about like this Cal Berkeley pushed Ann Coulter out? She couldn't feel, or I guess her her people really did not want her to show up. We're worried about her. What can we do in things like in events like that, where these people are just, they've come unglued, they're wearing masks, they're being violent against conservatives? What do we do in those cases?
Well, I actually think we ignore them. I think they are like little children that aren't getting their ways, that are throwing a tantrum, and you ignore them and they'll stop. But we already won the war. We won the protest on November 8th.
Help him to get the promises accomplished. So we do need that wall. I don't care if it's El Chapo drug money pays for it or we taxpayers pay for it, then we get it back from Mexico by taxing their remittances and things. So I'm good with whatever Trump is doing right now. He's got really good people in place, and it's just driving the left-wing wackadoodle more so than they always are. And
Really can't sit back and relax, because the Democrats are not going to do that. You can see that every day in the news, how they're fighting. George Soros pours hundreds of millions of dollars into these organizations. In some cases, it's a criminal act that they portray on the rest of us. So we need to be proactive. We still have to support him when we can. We should get more involved at the local level, in the city's, the school systems, the city government, state governments, support certain candidates locally and regionally, because that's a base you've got to build so that we can be strong behind Trump. We need to build that base and keep building it and keep fighting at every turn.
So tell me about California. What do you think is our future in California?
We have a big opportunity here in California. California is the state of Ronald Reagan, the state of Nixon. This is a conservative state. It's just been overrun by liberal fraud and social engineering. And if enough people quit getting demoralized and come out like they did at Berkeley, we can take this state back and we can make it red from dog catcher all the way up to governor.
It's awesome. So you're pretty hopeful, aren't you?
Absolutely. People just have to get up, register, and come vote and support Trump.
And they need to run for office.
They need to run for office, absolutely.
How do we get them to run for office?
Well, I think we need to clean up the fraud in the state, the election fraud, the voter fraud. We have to out the activists who are working in the registrar's office, who work behind the scenes that you don't really see every day. We have to eliminate that fraud, and then people will feel confident to come out and vote. There's plenty of people who are not registered that want to vote, but they feel demoralized because they think, oh, it's California, it's run by Democrats. It's not necessarily true. It can be turned around just like that.
My name's Joy Delapine, and I'm a big-time Trump supporter, and I voted for him, and I'm very happy that he won.
Okay, great. And have you followed politics for a long time?
Yes, I was president of the Nation Valley Republican Women, and I've been following politics. I voted in every election since I turned 18.
And have you run for office, or have you been familiar with constituencies and how people think around here?
Yes, I ran for state assembly, California State Assembly, back in 2014. I didn't win, but it was 22% Republicans, and I got 34% of the votes, so I think I did well.
You did super well. And are you going to try it again?
I'll run for something else again someday, I'm sure.
Okay, great. So I just asked Patty O'Day, who's like the chief volunteer organizer person in the area, what can we as individuals do? I mean, a lot of people who voted for Trump, that was their first time voting, or the first time voting Republican even. What can we do now that he's elected? Our support needs to keep going because, God forbid, I mean, we need to really rally around him. What do we need to do as individuals?
I think we all need to talk about all of his achievements, which are many. And I think we need to talk to anyone that's negative on him, tell him what he's done, and be proud of it. And be proud of him as our president. Back him up.
Are you pretty excited about the direction and the hope for the future?
I am.
Tell me
You just take a look at the stock market and you'll see I'm not the only one.
Hi, my name is Patty O'Day, and during the last election, I was the Contra Costa captain for the Donald J. Trump campaign. And now, after the election, I'm just trying to keep the group together because we had a huge group of volunteers that love Donald Trump and they want to keep helping him. And so now our goal right now is to help him convince the other elected officials to do their job and help him make America great again. We think he's doing a great job.
What's the number 1, 2, and 3 things that we as individuals need to do to help support the cause in total?
Well, we have to support Donald Trump by constantly holding our elected officials' feet to the fire and tell them, we elected you, we're your boss, you need to do your job and take care of America and stop your political fighting and just, instead of that, take care of America and do what's right for America and stop worrying about Democrat or Republican. And we can do that by calling our congressmen, calling our senators, and reminding them to do their job. We can also, the next thing is we need to get help build up our farm team so we can get more elected officials. In California, it's really hard in California for Republicans. The Democrats have a 2/3 majority in both the Senate, the state Senate, and the state Assembly, and we need to stop that because if we don't get some more people elected, they'll continue to pass ridiculous laws that we need to stop them from doing that. So we need to get good Republicans elected, and we need to also help them out by our people registering voters and getting ourselves elected to local offices such as city councils, school boards, fire boards, water boards, all kinds of important boards in the area, and learn how to run for higher office.
What about showing up at these city council meetings? Like we're having, some of these cities are talking about sanctuary city and going forward with that sort of concept. And when we show up, like in Danville, what are we having an impact? Is that a helpful thing to do? What should we do?
Yeah, so we were very helpful in Dublin and in Pittsburgh. We stopped them from going with a sanctuary city because we had people show up and voice their concern and saying, hey, stop it, you're not representing. They say something like 60 or 70% of the public doesn't want sanctuary cities. So these elected officials that are doing it, they're going against what their constituents want, but they think they're doing the right thing. So we need to go and show up at these meetings and tell them they are not doing the right thing.
What happened when we did show up?
In Dublin, they voted against it. In Pittsburgh, they voted against it. So there you have it. We made a difference.
So we showed up, had signs, spoke in public, got on the city council agenda, and are speaking on camera.
I personally have collected about 1,000 email addresses, and I send out emails trying to get people to do things. So I want them to, right now we're working on sending letters and phone calls to our congressmen and our senators. We're gonna need to get Obamacare, the repeal of Obamacare okayed, and so we need our people calling. I do want people to read their emails and take action. I'm not asking them to do as much as I do, but I want them to maybe spend an hour a week. We can write letters to the editor. We're going to be putting together a quick response team because if we hear about stuff, we want to be able to call people and text people quickly. We just found out President Obama's showing up in San Francisco. We want to know about that. We might want to show up there. And that's the kind of thing that we need the quick response team for. We need people to check their email more than once a week because there's important stuff going on. And we need to stay together. And I need you to when I send out an email, I need you to send it out to your email list and get your friends. And we need to have each one reach one. Everybody bring in a friend. And if we can just keep doing it, we'll just keep multiplying because these people are going to find in this country that Donald Trump is doing a really good job for America and for the world. And we need to let him do his job and try to stop all the obstructionism that's going on. But we need to stick together, and we can do this, and we can make America great again. I'm so proud of being an American. I'm a veteran. I was very proud to be in the Air Force, and I'm very proud to now be an American. I went to the inauguration. It was so much fun, and I was very, very proud to be there. If you didn't have to fight Congress so much, can you imagine what we would have done already? And I'm irritated with Congress for not having a plan after 7 years. I'm pretty irritated. But we're going to get it. We're going to get it done. And so we need all of you to help us get it done. And right now, we're gearing up for the next election in 2018. And we have a mess in California. Amen. So I'm going to tell you this. Deb Allen over there, she's the chairman of the Contra Costa Republican Party. And she's here to celebrate with us, and we're going to get going here very soon. And we need all of you. I know I've sent out emails to you trying to get you guys to sign up to be on commissions and boards, because that is the best way to take over our team and build up our local offices and have our people do a good job at those local offices. They'll get name recognition, they'll make contacts, they'll meet the donors, and they'll be able to run maybe in the next election for higher office. Right now, the state assembly and I think the state senate have a 2/3 majority, the Democrats, and that's why you're getting that stupid gas tax bill and sanctuary states and all of that. And we need your help. So we just really have to stay active. And I know there's some very talented and qualified people in this room tonight. So I'm wondering why most of you have not run for office yet.